I think there was a life coach or somebody. She makes you imagine that you have a choice. So for 2023, I decided that you will die in 6 months. It's life. Life happens. So I don't even want to talk about this. Hi everyone, how it's going? And welcome to another episode of Chit Chat, and also welcome to 2023. In this episode, we're going to talk about making New Year resolutions. And, probably for some people it's already too late because, it's already the beginning of New Year. And by this time, you should have probably already do some sort of reflection on the previous year and set up some goals. But if you haven't done it so already, or you were just curious to find out how other people do, for example, like me, stay tuned. And before we start, don't forget to put thumbs up to this video if you enjoy watching this. Also, don't forget to subscribe because your support really means a lot to me. And this year, I really want to grow my channel. And I just genuinely hope that you do enjoy this content. So why New Year resolutions do not work? I mean, like somebody can say that I didn't know exactly what I want to do or to have. Somebody can say that there is no enough motivation to actually pursue the goals that I set up for myself. But somebody as me can say that, the year was so fucking unpredictable that actually changed the whole course of where I was initially going to in January 2022. And I guess it's very reasonable to say that it's just an excuse, but for a lot of people, it's actually not an excuse. It's a huge objective reason that there is actually a war going on. And, a lot of people's lives have changed drastically without them planning it to happen. So even though I'm not, in Ukraine right now, but it still affected me, my family, and maybe not in a way that most people were affected that are in Ukraine. But still for me, for us, for my partner, it was a huge change of a plan. One thing I need to say is that when I was setting up my goals for 2022 for last year, the goals are pretty much universal in a sense that you can do them in any part of the world. But obviously for those things, you actually need your network, your friends. You probably even need to be actually in a specific city, in a specific location to make it happen, in a sense that you can promote yourself better, you can attend, any events or just like meet like-minded people, for example, as it was back in LA for me. And this year I didn't have the luxury actually to choose where I want to live and to start, building my base. We don't even have home right now. As for now, we got our residence, but it's not as we live in the country that we, had in our dreams, and we have a stable job. So it's not something like that because everything is still vulnerable. But the whole intro is just to show you that, even though you follow, probably some of you follow me on Instagram or you follow other people lives on Instagram or on other social media, and you think like they have it all figured out, but actually it's not true because last year did affect most of the people, even people in Europe, my friends. The prices went up on gas and other utilities, and obviously this feel of insecurity because of the war, it affects subconscious of many people, if not all of them. So for 2023, I decided that it's not like I'm going to set realistic goals in a sense that they will be small and pretty predictable and super achievable. No, I decided to do it in a way that I still gonna do my setting the goal routine, if we can call it so, but I'll give it a slight chance that if it doesn't happen and there would be a legitimate reason why, this goal or dream has been postponed, I won't stress about it at the end of the year, at the end of 2023. So regarding the process, what I usually do by the end of the year is that, first of all, I think probably that's my favorite part, is what I do is probably we call it conclusions. So I have a list. I think me and my friend created it like maybe 10 or even 15 years ago. So every single year I write. It's super simple, like I think maybe 50 or something like that points, the song of the year, achievement of the year, the disappointment of the year, my favorite piece of wardrobe of the year, something like that. And it just gives you an idea of the year in a nutshell. You just instantly can have a look at your previous years and just remember some sort of things. And sometimes if we talk about the disappointment, you can actually see the progress that you've made in the next years, that you worked on that thing, it actually changed, now it's different, so you can see the evolution of yourself. And I think it's super important. So the conclusion list is super simple, it's very straightforward, and it's very easy to fill out. And probably every year I add a new point because there is something missing, like my favorite drink of the year. I know it's super random, but sometimes when especially we move to a different country, there are certain groceries that you get in that specific country, and you cook something specific and you drink something specific. I don't know if it works for you, but for me, every single time I travel to a different country, I have a specific dish that I would, for some weird reason, just cook more in that place rather than in a different one. So that's the conclusions of the year. Then I think it's super important before you set any goals is actually to say thank you for yourself. Is the achievements of the year. It's what I've actually done and what I'm proud of, or what I've realized that is important for me. So for 2021, as I see, it was 20 points. In 2022, I think it was around 30. So I hope that by the end of 2023, it's going to be even more, because the more you are able to say thank you to yourself, it's important even in a sense of, even from the side of your self-esteem, that you can actually be grateful for both small things and big things. So for example, I'm grateful for having my partner and being together for a year and a half. Or for example, something as simple as a bag that I've been dreaming about 3 years. I know it sounds very stupid for somebody, but I just didn't have money at the time. And this company just doesn't ship to any country in the world, so you had to be in some specific place where they actually ship it to. So my dream bag. Or a year ago, I did a TikTok just for Richie, for my cat, and I was super proud because I actually tried to make content with my cat, and I think I maybe released 30 or 50 videos, and for me that was quite a lot. So I also decided to put it on the list of achievements because it actually took some time to create and edit those videos and get the idea. Even though with my cat you don't even need to have any specific ideas, because he doesn't even need to do anything, you just have to film him and it'll be a huge success. And even though it didn't go viral, I still think that we have some potential. So that's the achievements. And as I said, achievements are super important because it helps you to realize that this year wasn't a waste of time. Even though when you compare your previous goals with these achievements and they do not match 100%, it's totally okay, because there is always, this percentage of the black swan of an event that nobody thought of, nobody had even an idea that it's going to happen, and it actually happened, and it might have ruined some of your plans. It's life happens, so you should give yourself some space and time where you can process that probably you just need to take this goal and put it into the next year and just simply do your best. And when we completed our achievements, then we move to setting up the goals. And here I don't even want to talk about this. There is so much information on that in the internet. A lot of life coaches, influencers, or even your friends might talk about how they do this. But what I realized that works for me, subconsciously or consciously, is that whenever I put something in present tense, in present time, I have this idea that in a way it's already happened, and that it is achievable, that it's not something, out of the space. Last year, what was different? Last year, what I did is that I wrote very materialistic things, like exact numbers that I want to earn each month, exact amount of followers that I want to have on my social media, something like that. And this year, I did probably for some points it was like that, but I also included a lot of things that are non-tangible. For example, like how I feel. For example, I realized that, meditation, just simply 10 minutes per day, actually gives me so much ideas It gives me clarity of my thought. And the most important gift is my intuition. I started to listen to it, be able to listen to it and follow it, like, trust it. So something like being, for the most time, being in a state of harmony, being in a state of happiness, and just being present in the moment is something that I actually wrote in my goals for 2023. And I know it sounds pretty abstract, and there are a lot of times when we just cannot control our emotions and something unpredictable happens and we just forget about all the resolutions that we had, all the rules that our, for example, therapist taught us. But I think by writing this down, energetically speaking, it adds more probability that it will actually take place, because you start to have this sense of responsibility the same way you do, for example, when you sign any contract. You read through the contract, through whatever it might be, you sign, and you realize that there is some sort of responsibility, even though it's just a piece of paper. And I think what's also important is that you have this notebook. For example, for me, it's my favorite one. It's a huge one. I mean, like, it's simply A4, but it's very practical when it comes to journaling every morning or creating a calendar. I just do it with my own hand. And from time to time, it's better if you can actually revisit what you've written in the beginning of the year. Because sometimes, our goals change, our dreams change, and that's totally okay. But if you do not remind yourself by the end of every month, where are you actually going to, there is no much sense in setting up any goals at all. And now we come to the bonus sort of point, if we can, name it. So I think there was a life coach or somebody, and my friend, a really close friend of mine, shared with me this practice, and I find it very useful because even though we set up goals for the whole year, we try to be, as generous and as abstract as we can to make sure that we can fill up the year with all those processes of achieving them. There is a very different mindset if you have a specific deadline which is shorter than the whole year. It was some sort of a meditation. It just simply 5 or 7 or 10 minutes where she makes you imagine that you go to a doctor and he says that you have illness, inside of your body that is not curable. There is no way you can stay alive. So in 6 months, you'll be gone. And the main point he makes is, is that when you die, you shouldn't care about the money because your parents, your relatives, all of them would be taken care of financially, emotionally. They will have therapists, they will have money. So the main point of this exercise is to mentally imagine that you have only 6 months. Only 6 months. And I think I did this practice 3 or 4 years ago, and every year, a part of just, setting up the goals for the whole year, I do this practice myself. I spent probably a minute or so, to work on my breathing. Actually imagine this scene as vividly as I can, that I go to a doctor and mentally put myself in a state where you hear the news that you will die in 6 months. And even though it might sound super negative, and obviously it is, and hopefully nobody who's watching this would ever have to experience that in real life. But by putting yourself in this state of mind, you can prioritize better, because I don't have a specific number of goals that I set for the whole year. So it can be 10, it can be 20, it can be 30. And I think it's good because you have a choice of things that you can and want to try doing during the year. But when it comes to actually things that matter to you in this present moment, when you do this, these practices, it's very interesting to actually prioritize in what do you do first. And for me, it's very interesting in a sense that a lot of things, and for those 6 months, I just do 10 goals or 10 things that I will want to do. And what's interesting is that it's sometimes very different from what I set for the whole year. I don't know why, but it actually shows me that there are things that lie deep inside of me. And by setting the goals for the whole year, I'm just getting this muscle working, I want this, I want that, I want to eliminate this or whatever. But when you do these practices in this order, and the last one is actually prioritizing what you want, it helps you to have this filter and to realize that, only 10 things, only 6 months, what I want to do. And obviously it's not perfect because a lot of people would just, go travel or, I don't know, do something extreme because there is nothing to lose. And it's not perfect because you cannot set a long-term goal, right? But I think that what helps me to differentiate between long-term goals, because 1 year is very long. It's 365 days. But short goals, just 10 of them for the next 6 months, it shows me what I can do now so I can feel happy, because this exercise makes you want to choose things that would make you happy at the end of your life. And at the same time, as I've said, I have my long-term goals, which keep me motivated, they keep me serious, they keep me, as an adult, that I'm going to some bigger things. So I really hope that this video was useful in some way to you, because obviously everybody has their own routine of setting up goals for New Year's. I have a friend that never done this, and I think she doesn't even plan to do this in the future, and I totally respect that, because she says that she has everything in her mind. And if you have any specific and interesting routines that you want to share, please go and comment down in the comment section below, because I'm curious. I'm always curious to find how people, set their goals, obviously how they try to achieve them, and what are the results, and how they make any sort of conclusions out of this whole year experience. So I wish you all the best year, that all of your dreams, all of your plans, all of your goals come true easily without any pain, and all the lessons that the life has prepared for you this year, they were only positive in the best way possible, and that you enjoy the process. So thank you once again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to put thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and hope you to see in my next video. If you have a specific topic that you want me to cover, please go also in the comments and tell me what you want me to talk about. But at this time, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.